And we are recording. There we go. Frieren, Season 2, Episode 8. Last episode was all the setup, right? Like, we have our combatants, they're squaring off against each other. Fern is going to take on the mage guy, Methode is going to take on the swords lady, and Frieren is going to go off, do whatever the fuck it is that she's planning to do. She's just playing around, because she's very confident and has faith in Fern. Meanwhile, Stark and, anime boy, edgy, like Frieren Sasuke, are facing off against the Snake General with 4 swords. So that's going to be exciting and interesting. Probably a lot of Sakuga that I'm going to have to yell about. But if this is the big Sakuga episode and you just want to see how I'm reacting to that one and you've never been along to one of these before, I'm not going to show it to you. You can't see Frieren the anime on your screen right now because all I'm going to show you is this, which is a mostly blank screen with a little box where the subtitles will be and a timestamp in the top left. And you are going to use that to stay in sync with me and be in the same place as I am. Because I can't put the anime on screen for you, you're going to have to put it on screen for yourself. And I am going to give you a countdown. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, go. Then we go at the same time. And then when some fucking Sakuga bullshit happens on screen and I need to yap about it, I'll say 3, 2, 1. Pause, and then we'll both pause at the same time. And then I'll do my yapping, and then when I'm done yapping, I'll be like 3, 2, 1, go, and then we keep going. And that's how we're going to stay in sync. That's how I avoid copyright bots, and that's how we get to watch Frieren together, like we're sitting on a couch next to each other with each our own laptop, essentially. It's inconvenient for you, it's convenient for me, and this is my fuck around and enjoy myself channel, so I don't really want to put in too much effort trying to edit around copyright blocks. So yeah, that's the way that works. You can become a member of the channel to join the other folks in the Discord who are yapping live with me right now as we record this thing. And that'll also give you access to some more convenient versions of my reactions that are less fiddly to deal with, if that's something that interests you. It starts at $1 a month. You are more than welcome, by the way, to subscribe and go and just like see the things you want to see and then immediately unsubscribe. That's okay. I don't mind. The paywall is not really there to be like a big thing. Is if you just want to like pay $1 one time to see everything, then you're welcome to do that. I don't care. Anyway, let's get into episode 8, the Sakuga episode, I assume. Because my assumption is that episode 8 is going to be like the big Sakuga bullshit, then episode 9 is going to be when they win, and then episode 10 is going to be when we sort of wrap up and we do the denouement and the characters move on and we set up for whatever the hell season 3 is going to be. That's my assumption. I guess it's time to test it. 3, 2, 1, go. It's such a relatively chill intro, this one. Which, again, appropriate for a season that's mostly quite chill. It's not super chill right now. Right now, we're doing fucking Naruto anime shit, or AMV shit. I wasn't kidding, by the way. Like, in a better and more civilized time, there would have been so many AMVs of Frieren shit. Just the edgiest emo, like, just set to the edgiest, most aggressive pop punk you've ever heard in your life. It would have been glorious. It would have been glorious, but YouTube decided that that age was not to be. So now they do it on TikTok instead, which, you know, it's not as good because it's vertical format. Still. There is a part of me that wants to just commission people to make really cool AMVs for anime that I like. Because, like, if you have the money, but where would I upload them? Nataru. Ooh, that's 3D. Oh, edgy anime boy doing the breathing out steam thing. Eyes in the back of the head or just observe? Oh my fucking god. There should be so many AMVs. Jesus Christ. Okay, hang on. Wait the fucking moment. Wait a fucking moment. Okay. Three, two, one, pause. Okay, hang on. Hang the fuck on. Hang the fuck on. They were doing a few things there. So, the windmill here, 3D, because that's a sensible thing to do. But the fucking... the fucking breathing out steam shit. Fucking... You're a fucking Naruto or Bleach character. Oh my god, Genaul. You adorable little edgelord, you. Oh my god. You would have cleaned up in 2008. So, ooh, the whole thing. Look at the background. The whole thing is a 3D shot. So they're finally doing that. How is that composited? Yeah, no, I think it is fully... I think they fully 3D rendered that backdrop. Because, like, you can do something kind of like this by layering 2D illustrations over each other. Like, and just doing parallax effects with them. But no, this looks like, yeah. They actually built out a 3D model, it looks like, to help them do these camera moves. Which, like, sensible, given what's about to happen in this scene. I'm tempting the copyright bots by playing as much footage straight up as I am right now. Because, like, again, this is a common type of shot, right? Like, we have our protagonist with their cool wings, and then we zoom out, and then there's the antagonist who's, like, coming into shot as the camera pans back. But then they do a second move, right? Like, because then we have Genaul, we have the demon general, and then we do a little twist. Then the camera turns... so we can get Stark in the shot as well. To really, like, set the scene of this, like, pincer fight. And, like, now they're taking full advantage. I'm curious, though, if they had this 3D rig ready to go, why didn't they use them for those shots in the last episode? I wonder. I'm curious about that. I'm curious why they're only deploying it now. Probably they want to be a little bit minimalist about it. I will say, gorgeous 3D model in the background. Like, gorgeous 3D environment. The texture artists have really been on point, painting these out so that when it stands still, you can't tell. Like, you cannot read... I can see a few tells here and there, but when this is all standing still, it really doesn't look 3D at all. It could have been unfinished. Yeah, that's actually a fair point. Maybe it was just not... But, like, that depends. Like, because, like, who knows? Because, like, anime is not produced linearly. Like, you don't make episode 1 and then episode 2 and then episode 3, usually. Usually, you block out, like, where you need the most production time, and then you do those episodes when you have the most space available for it. Okay, so... Okay, this is a small thing, nerdy thing, but I just want to... Oh, interesting. Okay. So one way that you can sometimes do a 3D background like this, right, is you just kind of have a box, and then you paint a texture, and then you just kind of project the texture onto the box, and then that's kind of fine. And, like, for 3D shots, you can often get away with that because, like, it doesn't look too bad. You don't necessarily have to model the geometry of all of it, right? Like, and then there's levels of it where, yeah, you model the geometry of, like, this thing and, like, the doorway and stuff like that. But then the windows on the inside, yeah, they can just be kind of flat 3D textures. Who cares? It doesn't matter. But no, looking at the rotation and looking at the detail, you can see that they've actually fully modeled, maybe not the whole interior of the building, but you can see that at least the windows on the front, and there's a wall in there that's, like, reflecting light out. They have modeled some of the interior, at least enough that the buildings here can have their windows rotate properly through this shot. Cool. And then they do a parallax scrolling thing, right? Like, where we have this flat illustration in the foreground of debris, which I suspect also serves the role of, like, when you have 2D characters in a 3D space, one of the difficult things can be to place 2D characters correctly in the environment, like to make them look like their feet are grounded, and that they're not gliding or sliding over a 3D backdrop, that because the backdrop here is moving on ones, right? The backdrop is moving every single frame, totally smooth, every single frame, but the characters are moving 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. They're moving on twos, right? So there would always, when you have a background that scrolls smoothly at 24 frames per second, and then the characters are animated at 12, you would get a little bit of gliding. You'd get a little bit of sliding where the background moves under their feet when they don't. So I suspect this debris in the foreground is just there to make sure that they look like you don't have to handle their interaction with the ground so much. You can just kind of have them do their action, and you don't have to worry about whether they are centered. Because, like, one thing about whatever the fuck his name is, I keep forgetting it, is as this camera rotates, I suspect it would look like he's not keeping his space, like he's not staying in one place, with the way that they're doing it here, and having this in the foreground helps smooth that out a little bit. Okay, cool. And now this fucking shot. This shot, I could tell just looking at it. Man, someone studied bird wings in flight. Because they are really stylizing the shit out of it. Like, oh my god, they're stylizing the shit out of him. Yeah, that's a really expressive way to animate it. Because the idea here is that Genaul is like tumbling through the air at maximum speed, right? Like, so he's supposed to look chaotic. He's supposed to look like he's like zooming through the air so fast that it's like whipping everything around on him. And so the way they do that is with this strangeness, right? Like that the wings are not quite attached to him, that the wings are kind of thin and weirdly inconsistent in their shape, like, but in a way that's consistent with wing shapes, but not like consistent with physics. And they're stylizing it out fully, like by literally just not drawing certain parts of him and disconnecting certain things. Like to really get this vibe of chaotic motion and movement across. That's very, very expressive. It's veering into abstraction, like like all stylization veers into abstraction, but like this goes really far in there. Because like you can see how his anatomy doesn't even make sense, right? Like the way that as he twists, like, how is his shoulder twisted to do that? How is his body doing any of these things? It doesn't really matter, because what they're trying to get across here is the motion of it, right? The chaotic whip and tumble of it, which they're doing really well. And the way that they're doing it is by being really, really casual about the model, right? Like, this is the opposite of drawing on model. This is hyper distortion of the form. That's really cool. Right? Like, fucking look at him. That's a fucking animation smear right there. Holy shit. That's a fucking animation smear. Damn. Yeah, they're still doing it here. Like, they're doing all that flapping. That's a style of animation you really can't employ in a lot of places. I feel like I've seen this style of, like, hyper distortion. I've seen this in a bunch of Chinese animation as well. Like, in some of the things that like emerged from Chinese studios. It feels like that's something that seems to have developed, at least in part, out of the Chinese animation scene, or at least their output was the first place that I saw this style of hyper stylized smearing. I don't know who the animator is on this shot, but if they have taken some inspiration from that, I wouldn't be surprised. Because, like, they are just ignoring... Well, no, they're not ignoring it, but they are, like, to a large part, not concerning themselves with physics or anatomy at all here, right? Like, the way that they shrink the wings in on themselves to create this ball that then becomes, like, the spinning drill with which he's trying to attack the guy. It's so expressive. And you can even see they're doing differential animation timing between Genaul and the wings as they're doing it, treating them like two separate objects just to get it across even more strongly. It's abstract. That's really cool. Gotta be some flashing light warnings here. Yeah, and then for the actual drill, all it really is just a flat volume with lighting effects and highlights, just like all of them pushing left to right, like pushing towards, always pushing towards the Demon Lord. But it's very, very similar. It's just an oval, basically, with some jagged edges on it. And all of the impact, all of the speed, all of the power of it is delivered by the effects animation. You can see it, right? Like how all of the sense of strength from it is coming from the light, this like shockwave ring, all of the sparks, like all of the air that's pushing towards, pushing into. And just like, obviously, that they cycle this shit as fast as possible, like on one frame cycles. Ooh, cool. As he gets ready to do the parry, right? Like to break the stalemate, they bend the swords. That's nice. And then this fucking shot. Which, like... So for this shot, I would have expected them to use the 3D background, but it looks like they didn't actually use the actual 3D background. Or maybe they did, but if they did, why would they... Well, actually, no, that would make sense. Okay, so if I were to take a guess, I think this is still the same 3D background, but they just took all the textures off. And they did that because they know the animator who's animating the ground. And most of the shot here, he's not going to paint the ground in a level of detail that aligns with the buildings. So either it's rotoscoping, like either it's the animator rotoscoped over the 3D background they had, or else they just deliberately removed the detail from the 3D background. Like it was painted so well, right? It looked so good. But I think maybe they just deliberately removed that detail so that it would look better with the very simply rendered ground that they had to paint. Also because when you have a very kinetic action shot like this, having a lot of detail in the background is not necessarily advantageous, because what you need to be able to do is read the character movement. And if there's a whole lot of detail and shit in the background that takes your attention away, that can actually be harder. Someone's having fun with the whipping animation on his tail while Stark is sliding around. Smacks into the boulder, braces himself, or a tree, whatever it is. And then, like, he has to wrench it loose so you can see him push forward, put his body weight into it, and then pull and get it out. Oh, this is good. Because the thing is, a criticism I've had of some forms of Sakuga is that sometimes Sakuga can be so focused on looking cool and dynamic that it becomes unreadable. Right? It can be so focused on looking cool and dynamic that it's like you can't fucking tell what's going on. It's just like, things fucking happening, right? Like, that can happen sometimes. Most recently, I saw it in the, when Deadpool released into Marvel Rivals, there was a little cinematic that would play when you loaded into the game with Deadpool doing cool sword moves and shit. And that one was kind of fucking unwatchable, because it all looked very cool, but it was completely impossible to read the action unless you slowed it down frame by frame. You couldn't see what the fuck was going on. So one thing I do want to compliment them on here is that the action here, although it's very dynamic, although it's very, like, lots of camera moves and shit, Stark is, like, close to the camera, he's far away from the camera, he's running from. They keep it readable. Interestingly, though, I think they're doing a little speed up thing. What are they doing here? No, they just fucking animated him on ones. Holy shit. So when this plays back at full speed, I'm going to take the risk. Like, he's moving so fast, right? Like, he's fucking... Things are fucking moving. Right? It almost kind of looks like it's been sped up. And I assumed initially that that's just what they were doing, is they animated it and then they just kind of sped up the sequence, but they didn't add any more in-betweens. But no. He's fully animated on ones. They're animating this shit on ones. This shot, with all the fucking ground and shit. Because they weren't animating on ones back here. They're animating this shit on ones. Right? Like here, we're still on twos, right? You can see. But then once we get here, animating him on ones. That's why it looks so snappy. That's why it looks so much faster and so much smoother. It's because they're animating it on ones. Fuck off. Oh my fucking god, they're animating it on ones. Because it's not just magic effects. They're animating a character running over dynamically animated ground. With like a dynamic camera move to follow him. They're animating that shit on ones. I swear to god, if they didn't use 3D for the background, they must. Like, either that or rotoscoping. That would be insane. That would be deranged. Why would you make an animator do that? No, that's 3D. The background is 3D. It has to be, but not the ground. The ground is fucking hand animated. Just the background details there are... Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, and now we return to alternating cycles on twos, right? Stark throwing that ass back. Yeah, and we're like we still animate on ones, but we give the one frames all to the Demon Lord here because Stark is one on the defensive. I wonder if they're gonna swap back so when Stark is attacking again, he goes back to ones. No, they keep him on twos, and then they animate the demon guy on ones. That makes sense because he's the much more complicated bastard to animate. Hi, Genaul. You're also here, just sort of swooping through the background, just to remind ourselves that he's still there. The coordination of managing these frame rates. Yeah, and like they deliberately make it too chaotic to... Because like in full motion, this is chaotic. And it's supposed to be. Like, they're managing the chaos of it really well. Amazing that they're able to keep the action readable. Holy shit. Yeah, and you can see them again here. Like, as Genaul is flying through the air, they're really ragdolling him a lot. That seems to be part of the aesthetic of his flight, is that, like, his wings kind of ragdoll him around a little bit. Which I think, again, partly the point is to make sure that we know that he's being pulled by his wings. Relative to, like, the demons fly just by flying, right? Like, they fly smoothly, mages fly smoothly usually. He's flying with his wings, at least to a large extent, so he's getting pulled by them in a way that, like, affects him physically. The casual just... He's not even looking when he lands that hit. Damn. Fucking hell. Okay. That was... We're in the first 2 minutes of the episode. Okay. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Fucking hell. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. I wouldn't count him out. Yeah, Stark! I love my boy! Just finish it. Just finish it. Don't let him talk to you. Okay. Kill him. Just kill him. Just finish him. Just... Oh my god. Yeah, that was... Yeah. I wouldn't sacrifice myself for a child. I would never do that. Ooh, they gave a lot to that. Sure, Siri. Sure. She might just be provoking him, of course, but... Or trying to protect him. But she's wrong. Goat. 3, 2, 1, pause. My boy! After season 1, not Stark just didn't get to do anything. The whole mage exam bullshit, he didn't get to do anything. Oh, this is satisfying. Very satisfying little smear on Stark as he gets pushed back a little bit. Catches himself. You can see the subtlety of it too, right? Because here's the thing about standing on the ground. It's not just like, oh, foot. So much of standing on the ground is toes. It's actually incredibly important for standing on the ground that, like, your toes can grip. So when Stark gets moved back here, you can see how he's like, you can see the flexing of his toes, and he gets moved back and his toes lift a little bit from the ground and then they settle again, and then he digs them in as he's pushing back. That's well observed. That, like, when you're trying to hold on to your positioning, like, you will, and you'll notice this if you pay attention to when you're losing your balance or when you're trying to, like, keep your balance, you will instinctively dig your toes into the ground to grab, basically, which is what they're for. Very cool that we can kind of see that action reflected in the little pushback here as he's trying to hold his ground. That's very cool. Also, Stark, you magnificent little bastard. Interesting way to show it, too, right? Like that the hit connects, then we get this shockwave. Then there's like a little moment of silence, and then we see the sword pass by, and the cut lands. Magnificent little bastard, Stark. Just knowing that the moment the guy commits to an attack that's going to land, that's also the moment he opens himself up. Lovely detail that he has strung his body around the battlements there to hold on. Like, good use of the snake anatomy. And then slow fall. And yoink! That's my boy. Okay, this shot, is that 3D? Parts of it are, for sure. Oh, no, yeah, it's all 3D. It's a whole 3D shot. Damn, they even modeled the grass really well in this 3D shot. Again, I like Genaul's character, right? Like, I'm not kind. I'm a bad man. I've only ever met one idiot who, like, sacrificed himself for a child he didn't even know. I would never be instantly. And good effect this here, too, right? Because that's the dagger, that's the sword that he deflected, right? So the moment it lands is also the moment he gets stabbed, which is like synecdoche, right? Like that he thinks he's deflected the blade, but then we see the blade land. And the moment that the Demon Lord's blade lands, Revolta's blade lands, is also the moment that he gets stabbed. That's a good way to sort of cut across. Oof. Ugh. The little pump and then another pump of the blood. Oh, gross. But I do like, I do enjoy, like, that's very funny. That's very fun from an animation perspective, that, like, the little demon girl is, like, dancing and just spraying blood everywhere. She should get more of it on herself, I think, but it's very fun that her little celebration dance is just, like, this very childish dance that sprays blood everywhere. For a moment, all I could think of was him. Yeah, you're a cold man, Genaul. No feelings. Certainly, you didn't care about that idiot at all. Oh man, he didn't matter to you. Yeah. Oh, you get used to people dying. He says, you get used to it. Oh, people die. It happens. You get used to it. I'm not a good person. No, you don't, motherfucker. No, you do not. Is that the first smile we've seen from Genaul thus far, more or less? I think it's the first smile. When he thinks he's about to die. And then we get this very slow, like the weight, you can feel the weight of this rise, right? Like the way that he like bends forward and the hand almost comes down to kiss the ground, and then it's like, urgh, he's dragging himself up. It's a very heavy lift. And as he comes up, right, you can see the weight shifts from this foot to that foot, and it's almost like he's kind of catches himself, like he's swaying a little bit, and then he's back to Captain Cold. And he's back to flashbacks. Trauma flashbacks. And then there's Siri, right? With this total misjudgment of him. He met a magnificent end. Oh, well, you don't mean that. You're an unpleasant man with no shred of kindness. Stay that way forever. Which, like, no, he's not. And one has to assume that she kind of knows that, and what she's trying to do is get him to, yeah, if you keep being kind, you're gonna die, so stop doing that, please. Please stop being kind, because you're gonna fucking die, you fucking moron. The assumption is that she's trying to protect him. Speaking of, again, toes gripping the ground, that's toes gripping the ground so hard it cracks. My boy! Fucking Edgelord! Edgelord, motherfucker, with the little hand pose in front of Edgelord! Emo boy! Oh, man. Again, in 2008, this man would have been on so many posters. There would have been so many fanfics. What a good sequence. Anyway. 3, 2, 1, go. Kill him, Fern! Ooh, lovely breathing animation. Oh, she has so much faith in Fern. We know it's justified, right? But still, frieren, come on. Hellstone grenade. Ooh. Ooh. Aura farmer. Oh, fuck yeah. Three, two, one, pause. Okay, let's take a look at these fucking sequences. We're gonna be here for a while, folks. That is very cool. Like this chase sequence where like the bolts are like almost moving animalistically. Like they are like animal serpents chasing her, trying to chase her down. Some gorgeous compositing, like because we have the fog effect all over everything, right? So the colors are even more washed out than usual, and they add a lot of extra glow effects on the spells, especially like the defensive spells and things when they hit. I really like this streak as well, like the way it right angles its way and then streaks down like that. That's gorgeous. And yet you can see sort of heat shimmer effects added around the edges of them as well to really give them that extra presence in the scene. Snap the tree in half. Fantastic. This is a good breathing sequence too. Because you can see the wave motion of like, it's not the whole body doesn't go at the same time. You can see how the shoulders lead and push and lead and push. You can see her chest moving, basically, even though we're only seeing her from the clavicle up. You can see the bellows of it. That's quite good. It's just Fern, like, okay, brrr. Like, no one can ever completely hide from me. Fair enough. Brrr. Just fucking pulls the machine gun. And then we get Metul, which I hate pronouncing it the way the anime does it. I do like the effect, because like what they do here is, as the soul track blasts away this bit of wood, you can see how they've painted a completely new background where they've just sheared it off and painted the remains the same way. Or more likely it's just a layer, but you know. I like the choreography of this fight a lot. Or at least this beat of the fight. It's again this thing of a lot of anime that doesn't have this level of time and budget. When you get a sword fight, it's a lot of I swing my sword at the other guy, and then the other guy like dodges one of two ways, or it's like ding 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 ding. And here it's much more of a dance, right? Like, it's much more of swipe there, Metul dodges, takes the chance to blast a point blank spell. It's move, counter move, right? It's much more of a action response, action response, action response situation. Also, Metul, the aura farm, absolute aura farm, just like, oh, okay. gets out of the way casually. Hand animated background here in the background as well. Lovely. And then we focus on the footwork. Yeah, it's a dance. It's really a call and response. And that's the core of good fight choreography, in my opinion, is a call and response between two opponents where the fight is an extension of a conversation, right? Like the fight is essentially a conversation between their capabilities, right? Their fighting styles, their beliefs, their whatever. Where Metul gets disarmed on purpose and then just does... Well, she flusters all the lesbians in the audience is what she does, but... And then the catch, lots of cool spinning animation. And she's rearmed. Beautiful. Call and response, right? Like, you can see their fighting styles interacting with each other. That's really cool. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Or a farming walk. Oh, he's not happy. But hey, they managed to crack... Oh my fucking god. Whoa, okay. Yikes! Three, two, one, pause. Yeah, yeah, like, good communication, right? Like, all of that calmness, all of that icy dispassion, just completely fucking gone. Another chance to use the 3D set. I mean, if you're gonna spend all that time building it, you may as well get something out of it. And boy, do they ever. Damn. That's a difficult tracking shot to animate over. And you can see, like, his physicality doesn't 100%. This is like a lens that's like a very wide angle lens, right? Like what they're emulating one, which, like, on the camera, this would be a very wide angle lens. A wide angle lens like that would have some severe distorting effects on anything in the frame, including the character. I don't think they match those distortions quite perfectly. His scale is a little bit inconsistent relative to the environment. But, like, yeah, nitpicks. This is very cool. And difficult. That's a difficult shot to pull off. That's very cool. Anyway, let's keep watching. I suspect we're not even close to the big shit yet. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, are you just gonna fist fight him? Hell yeah, Stark! Oh yeah! Get his ass! Whee! Music goes hard as fuck. Okay, 3, 2, 1, pause. Sorry to pause in the middle of all the cool shit, but I do need to go back and look. This sequence. First of all, just gorgeous physical acting. You can, like, he leads with his foot, right? Like, the hip starts, and then you can see how he's, like, pulling the axe. How it sort of stays in place here while the rest of his body is rotating, and then it follows. And then as we get into the swing, they even lengthen it just a little bit as he's, like, spinning around, like, using the weight of the axe head as the center of gravity, and just spinning around it, and yoink! Fully spinning himself in the air with the throw. That's really cool. But the run sequence here, again, using that 3D backdrop, but not for the rocks and things that he's jumping on. And here you can see there's a little bit of a desync between the motion rate of the background and the things in the foreground, but that's fine. Again, like, there's some inconsistency in scale that happens, and this is one of the dangers. Like, this is one of the difficult things of using 3D backdrops against 2D animation, is, like, 2D animation has a different expression. When in 2D animation you want to do rapid movement or certain pushes and things like that, you don't keep a consistent lens, right? Like, you don't, like, distortion is not consistent with a camera lens. Distortion is not consistent with any kind of property of physics. It's consistent with artistic direction, whereas the background does not distort at all, right, as we get in here. So, like, there's some inconsistency in the scale as the camera tries to mimic and follow what he's doing, right? You can see right now the building looks like it's way the fuck too big relative to Stark, but it doesn't really matter because, like, the shot works, right? Like, we get what the shot is communicating even if the camera work isn't perfectly matching, but that's because you kind of can't. You cannot really do a 3D camera movement that's grounded in the math of a software that will perfectly match the expression of an artist in a shot like this. So it's compromises you have to make, right? Which might be part of the reason why... What did they do with the backdrop here? Is that all 2D animated? Probably rotoscope, at least in part, but... But that might be part of the reason why this seems to be a rotoscoped background. Or is... No, that cannot be rotoscoped. Surely there's no way in hell. No, this has to be low level of detail 3D rendering again. It has to be. What I'm looking for is line consistency from frame to frame, and it seems to be perfect. And when the line consistency from frame to frame is perfect, that's usually an indicator of either a rotoscope shot that's very well done or it's actually 3D. I wonder. Certainly parts of this scene have to be. And that's 3D for sure. And then, yeah. I would be so curious to catch some behind the scenes information about the exact balance of 2D and 3D that they were using for shots like these. But it really does tickle me that Stark is like, I threw my axe, what now? Fist fight! That's just like, yeah, fuck you, buddy! Ah! It's like holding on to his fucking hair. It's like, whee! Hair pulling, fuck it, we'll do whatever. Fully fucking suplex driving him. Gadonk. Again, what a development for Stark from the scared kid that we met in the village with the dragon, right? This is a Stark who's a lot more conscious of his abilities. And I like that development in him. The first time he fought demons, he was terrified, right? The first time he was like, oh, fuck, oh, shit, oh, fuck, right? Like, I don't know what to do. I don't have the bravery to really commit. And it wasn't until he made that commitment that, like, I'm okay being hurt for this. That he took that one hit, that he got the opening, and then absolutely demolished that girl in one hit. And you can see that development in him, that he has found a lot of that physical courage. Here's another lovely thing. You can see the reflection of the two of them in the axe as they come in. And I love the dangle. Right? As Stark picks up this heavy weight, it sort of destabilizes him a little bit. So he's sort of like, whoa. And Genaul has to catch him a little bit with the extra weight of the axe before they can move on. Ooh. Here's a heavy foreshortening. Yeah. Really pushing that stretch into the screen to land the beautiful rainbow effects on it, too. Ooh. Cool. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Are you sure about that? In the name of the moon, she punishes you. Three, two, one, pause. Zoosh. I liked that dodge a lot. Because they really are going with like just a one frame dodge, right? Like the dodge itself is nothing. Just we shift from one keyframe to another. And then the thing we do is we hold on the pose. It's a classic way to do it, but it looks really good when the animator is this dedicated to the secondary motion of the hair. What an angle to choose for that particular motion. I like the detail of those two little loose strands, just two of them. Pushing down over there. That's a cool effect. I think that's pretty much just all digital effect. I don't think they did any hand animating for that. That's just, I think that's just a warp tool, like a liquefy tool distortion being applied. They're using the 3D clouds again, which I like the hand animated ones better. It's not that it looks bad, it's just not the kind of smoke motion I like. And then just fucking showing off. That's a fairly, like, this fucking demon girl with, like, the 9 tails of hair on her head, and the dress and all, and the horns. And then the animator's just like, yeah, let's fucking rotate her in space. Why not? Let's just fully do a rotation of her while her hair is, like, flapping in the wind. That is showing off. Like, not as impressive as all the other Sakuga when you... Like, it's not as flashy as all the other Sakuga, but, like... That's a lot of volume to manage. Because, like, the thing with anime hair, right? Like, anime hair most of the time is very flat. That's how it's built. Think of Goku, right? When Goku turns his head left to right, his hair spikes just kind of change position, right? They just kind of go, whoop. They don't realistically animate the volume of them because Goku's hair doesn't really have volume in that sense. Like, it's this very flat, hyper-stylized black surface, right? Like, that doesn't really have volume. And that's a thing that, like so many other things, like, that's something that emerged out of, like, artistic tradition of Japan, first of all, but also out of anime production, where, like, if you can have a shortcut, if you can have an easier way to make something move where you don't have to fully animate the volume, you do that. Because especially the early history of anime, so many of the conventions of anime, like the way they do handle limited animation lip flaps, the idea of, like, having a character stuck in one pose and just, like, holding one pose while the background streaks by behind them, and then that's the action shot of, like, wah! And then it's just a character, like, static while the background is smeared. All of these techniques and these things, like this very limited animation frame rate, all of that came out of extreme budgetary concerns. They're just, like, especially in the early days of Japanese animation, there wasn't any money for it, right? Like, there wasn't a lot of money. Production itself was a lot more expensive because you were animating the shit on cells and you had to photograph it into a camera, into a film reel. And, like, producing animation physically, the physical product of it, was just more expensive and took way longer. So a lot of the animation techniques we associate with anime emerged, and a lot of the stylizations emerged from this extreme cost cutting, right? Where everything had to be as easy as possible. And then as the Japanese animation industry developed and as they took more and more inspiration from like animation from around the world, not just from Disney and from the West, but from like European animation and like many different disciplines of it. It started to develop more of its own like three-dimensional language as well. But it's still you show this to one of the people who animated the original Astro Boy and they'd have a fucking heart attack. Because that is so much volume to handle. That's so much three-dimensional volume to manage while rotating it. And it is like the anime industry unfortunately runs on crunch, right? Like it runs on horror. Like the working conditions in the Japanese anime industry are horrifying. They are terrible. Like they are not good anywhere in the world. All animators pretty much everywhere suffer from like poor pay and poor working conditions, but the Japanese animation industry has a particularly nasty reputation on that point. So like there is always, when you appreciate the craft of this, the beauty of animation like this, there is always the fear that someone was sleeping under their desk for 2 weeks in order to get it done, right? Like there is always that little like, is this someone literally killing themselves slowly with stress to get this done? That is sort of like, it's hard to not feel that, but goddamn if whatever effort they put in didn't pay off. Because that's beautiful. And you can see like the management of stylization, right? Like her nose. Anime girls especially don't really have noses. Right, that's a thing about the visual style of anime. So you see an anime girl from the front, there's no nose on her face. There's like a couple of dots maybe, or like a little line right at the center of her face. That's where the nose is, right? Like these very stylized things, which also means that like when you have an anime girl rotating her head slowly in 3D space, you have to manage that somehow. And the way they do that is with a shadow, right? This little abstract shape represents the shadow on the side of the nose, and as she rotates you can see how they have to switch it from being on the left of her nose to on the right of her nose. And that's a little stylization thing that's very anime, and it's fun to see animators have to try and handle it, because most anime girls, you see their nose in profile, but from the front you see like a couple of dots for the nostrils and that's it. Which is one of my, like, this is one of my character design complaints about the anime style in general, is that so much of it is built around flattening features to the extent that sometimes it makes characters kind of, like, it's part of why anime has a special problem with same face, is because one of the big features that you can use to differentiate characters from each other, human faces especially, is the nose. Like the shape of the nose, the way that the shape of the nose affects the shape of the brow ridge, and like the depth of your eyes, and it informs like your smile lines, your cheeks, things like that, your cheekbones, all of that. Like it has a relationship with the nose. That's part of what makes a single face distinctive. One of the problems with that is that when you stylize that away to flatten it to sort of comport with like beauty ideals. That's basically what it is. It's because the nose is not considered beautiful by uncultured people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And I have lost the tracking on my model. Let me just restart that. Boop. It does lead to like more same face. Like same face becomes a bigger problem when you don't have the nose to use to make the character's faces distinctive. And let me just calibrate the tracking on my model now that it has restarted. Thank you. Good. That's part of why there's same face in anime, especially. Not only in anime, like Disney, oh boy, you have to stop trying to make Frozen again. Frozen is never going to happen again, Disney. Stop trying to make more Frozen. Come up with one new face for your female characters. I'm begging you. Yeah, but that's just a thing with anime. Like, and that creates a little problem when you want to animate things, because like those stylizations were made with anime in mind, right? Like with the production limitations of anime in mind. That's part of where they emerged from. And so when you try to produce anime in a way that it's not quite designed for, you get these slight awkwardnesses here and there with rotational 3D shots. Nothing that most people are going to notice, right? Like I notice it because I look for it. But it is there a little bit, like where the way they have to swap the shadow from side to side of the nose is like kind of a little bit odd and doesn't quite match the three-dimensionality of the rest of it. This shot with her hand as well, showing off this very, very slow hand shot into the frame. Showing off. It's beautiful, but it's show off. Whoever the animator is on that one, show off. At least with hands, you have reference. You can just kind of hold out your hand and look at it, but like, goddamn. That is well done. Erilfrachte. Germans in chat, what does that seem like? Frachte would be transporting something, right? What is Eril? Erilfrachte. Just nonsense? Yeah. Someone do a Doom mod where you're a Fern and you're just like machine gun blasting soul tracks at the demons. Call back this shot, by the way. The moon, like Fern was against the moon the last time she killed demons as well. It's very much her symbol. I really like how they handled this one. Right, we have the glow of the moon, and you can see the moon, right? Like, oh yeah, the moon, there's the craters and stuff, and then this water passes over it, and like, hey, is the moon glowing all of a sudden? Why is the moon brighter? Hang on. And then just this little watery blob of gadoosh. And you can see the way they do it with the background as well, how the contrast increases. Right? They're just sliding up the contrast. They're just kind of killing a little bit of the fogginess. And then gadoosh. That's a beautiful kill shot. Another fucking hand shot. There's a hand pervert working on Matul. There's a hand pervert working on this. Brackets complimentary, brackets positive. Again, lesbians in chat, imagine a woman doing that hand motion at you. Or indeed, caressing your cheek that way. My goodness. That's gorgeous. Lead with the wrist, hand follows, and then you can see the wrist leads as well as we're going downwards. And then here, with the rotation, little finger leads, and then everything else follows that curve over. And then orbital bombardment begins. Yeah, carpet bombing followed by an orbital laser. I know I've said it a lot over the course of these reactions, but just the fucking background work on Frieren. Just the background work on this show. Because it's not just, oh, she's standing on the ground and there's craters and stuff. It's the way you can see how the hole they've drawn the ground, like, compacted in, like it's been curved by the force of the blasts. And it's the way they handle values and composition, that you have like this layer here, this sort of foreground, air quotes, layer, and then you have like behind that another layer, behind that another layer, and like the contrast deepening as, like the darkness deepening as we go in. It's just composed so fucking well. And it's composited so well also. Because like all of these beautiful backgrounds don't matter if the characters don't feel like they fit in them. And like the compositing in this show is immaculate. The characters basically always feel like they belong where they are. Like they're planted correctly. Hey, is the moon glowing? Boom! Fern with the fucking sniper rifle. Sniping's a good job, mate. Long ass, added doors. Guarantee you'll never go hungry. Deal. I mean, you didn't even get like compare and contrast with Stark, Fern. I don't think you had a hard time tonight. Frieren would have stepped in if she needed to. You know that. Meanwhile, back with the boys, it's like, God, kill him now. Like over on the distance, you can just hear them screaming. Like over with the girls, it's like, oh yes, 2 steps, dodge, dispel a spell, boom, blast, easy. And over by the boys, like, well, they're having fun. That's the thing that matters. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. Whoo! He can probably fight without the blades also. Yeah. That's a big hole in you, Stark. Yeah, no, that would happen. Like, does someone know a healing spell? Mitula does, right? Like that's the thing they set up in the episode 6 is Mitula knows healing spells. Oh, hang on. Jesus. Jesus. That's a lot of blood. 3, 2, 1. Pause. I am risking monetization by putting this on screen. Yeesh. If he can stretch his arms like that, what could he do with his fingers? Something to think about. Yoink. A little bit of squash and stretch. Stretchy leg. And yo! Again, beautiful curve on it. But he's all the way from down low, swings it up. He's dragging it in an arc over his shoulder. And like, whoosh. And interestingly, they make a point of this visually. For all that there's all this like, blah, fucking light effect on it and shit, it doesn't harm the tree at all. It doesn't harm the windmill. It just kills demons. And now we're back in Genaul's perspective with a flashback. And this feels very heavily... And I say that, like, this feels, not rotoscope, but it feels video reference. Like, I would assume that for these shots especially, they were using heavy video reference, because that is... Look at the way his weight is handled, right? Like, when he runs forward, the little hops of the jog, and the way it comes down. They really put a lot into this sequence. They wanted the physicality of it, which makes sense, right? Like, because this is Genaul's darkest night of the soul, right? Like, this is the thing that has been haunting him the whole time. The people he couldn't save, right? The people that he wants, like, he keeps saying that he wants to give up on them, right? He wants not to care. He keeps asserting that he doesn't care. But then you get this scene, and there's so much physicality in it, right? And part of the point of that, like, aesthetic of motion, aesthetic of presentation, has an effect on how we read a scene, right? If a scene is animated cartoonishly, right, in the sense of the characters move like cartoon characters, they are not very affected by gravity, they're not very affected by their environments, right? Like, they can kind of just like do things that are sort of impossible. Their bodies don't really have to have weight or heft to them. Then it's comedy, right? Like, we read that kind of weightlessness as comedy, but we read this very weighty, grounded motion aesthetic that reads as more serious because it's more real, right? There's a reality to it. And it's also something that's very different from the hyper stylization we saw in the fight, right? Like, in the fight, there was so much like cool stylization, things like distorting, squash and stretch, all that shit. That doesn't exist here. Here, everything is functionally three-dimensional, right? Here, there's weight to things. Here, bodies don't distort, they just turn. And I think that's part of the point. The aesthetic is communicating the reality of it. This isn't cool, this isn't badass, this isn't stylized, this isn't anime edgelord shit. This is weighty. This is physical, this is real, right? You can't really abstract away from this in the way that you can with the more absurd, unrealistic. Okay, what is happening with my timeline in Premiere Pro right now? Don't do that. There we go. And it's the same thing as we come back, right? Look how much detail, again, level of detail, how much level of detail they're putting in his hands here, how much they're paying attention to the weight of his clothes, right? He's not just wearing a jacket as an anime outfit. This thing has weight. This thing is draped around him. This thing, like, drags on the ground. This thing stretches with his motion. There's a physicality here that doesn't exist in most anime, and certainly in most scenes in Frieren would not have this level of physicality, this level of attention paid to the physical experience of what he's going through right now. And you see how important his nose is, by the way, to the way that his face is turned here? It's an important feature of the face. You need it for three-dimensional motion. And the point to me seems to be you have to feel the struggle of it. How hard he is working. Because he's still trying to save Stark. Right? The losses he has suffered, the people he's been unable to save, that's what drives him. To the point that he will crawl through death to try and get to someone who is, objectively speaking, fucking dead already, right? Like, he isn't. Mitula is going to save them. It's no problem. We know that this is anime, but it's about communicating the emotional stakes for the character, and here you can see it, right? Like, he can't stop. He can't stop trying to save people. He can't. Physically. He cannot stop trying to save people. It isn't an option for him. Which, again, no matter how cold-hearted, right? No matter how detached, no matter how logical, how rational he pretends to be, he cannot. Literally, it is impossible for him to stop trying to save people. That's his character. And you see it through the physical acting, right? The level of suffering he will put himself through to save someone who cannot be saved, right? Like, to do something which is physically impossible. Something which he himself will call so stupid. I like Genaul. I like how they handled him, especially. It's not just that I like the character, I like how they portrayed him. How they handled showing what he's like, right? Like the contradiction between his words and his actions that is always there. And the physical weight and consequence of it. This must have been photo referenced so heavily. Well, not photo, video referenced so heavily. Little detail I appreciate. He drags his hand back and it smears the blood. Because look how heavy that is, right? All that's really objectively happening here is that a guy who's like a little bit above the ground falls down, right? It's like, in reality, if this happened next to you, you might feel it a little bit in the floor, but it's not that heavy when a dude like drops his body 10 inches. But the way they portray it, doosh, camera shake, fucking dust and debris gets kicked up. It's such a heavy fall because that's the weight he's carrying, right? Like, that's the weight he's pulling is very heavy indeed, given what's happening to him. Fuck me, man. This is Ghibli level animation. This is feature film animation. This is... I don't care how heavily photo referenced it is. This is fucking astonishing work. God fucking damn. Anyway, 3, 2, 1. His knuckles. Yeah, he would. He's fishing for Stark. Aww. I like that. Yeah. Yes. 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 No, frieren, come on! Oh. You can have two. The two of them would be fun together. Listen, he would instantly try and hit on Matilda, and Matilda would spend the whole time trying to hit on frieren. It would be so funny. Good boy. Second smile. Second smile. Stark got him. Wait, oh my god. Are they giving them like a 12-gun salute with spells? I'm sorry, not to laugh at, but that's... I mean, yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's what I'm saying! That was resolved faster than I thought it would be. I thought that episode 8 was going to be like a build up to like the all is lost moment when like, oh shit, everything seems to be going wrong and how are they going to get out of it? And then episode 9 was going to be like fight, climax, end. But I guess we have 2 episodes of relatively lower stakes coming, which is probably good because it took me, oh god, an hour and a half to get through this one. I do like the little, like, just catching him by the back of the jacket. Mr. Genaul, you're forgetting something. I very much like that it's Stark who manages to get a smile out of him. Because what Genaul probably wants to say in this moment is Stark is saying maybe both live long lives, and it's like Genaul in his head is like, no, we're not. We're not going to live long lives. We're both going to die horribly somewhere else where we're not this lucky to get bailed out. But he doesn't say that, right? Like, he just sort of accepts Stark's optimism. And there's the thing of, like, there is a point to, like, Genaul has two cheerful, fun, personable himbos in his backstory, right? That he sort of got attached to and then he lost them. And then here he has the third one. And finally he doesn't lose him, right? Finally, like, he manages to save him. And, like, that's a good arc for him. That's a resolution to his conflict, right? Like, his conflict is, he says he doesn't care. He cares so fucking much. And the fact that he has failed to save these two people weighs on him heavily, right? Like, it's killing him inside, even if he doesn't express it. And so here, finally, he gets to save something good in the world. And it does make him happy. We see that, right? It makes him happy that he has saved Stark's idiotic optimism for the world. So that's a good resolution to him. It is just, it's coding, right? Like, it's one of those things of, like, you invent a magic society with spells and bullshit. It's like, but then there's, so coding, right? So I'm cribbing an example from Lindsay Ellis. In Disney's Hercules, when Hercules goes to the Temple of Zeus and he's about to pray to Zeus to ask him, oh, mighty Zeus, would you please help me figure out how to become a hero, and etc. What Hercules does is he clasps his hands in front of his chest and he gets down on his knees to pray, right? That's not how you pray to the Greek gods, right? Like, that's, like, if you want to pray to the Greek gods, you better bring a sacrifice. You better bring a bull. You better bring some wine. You better bring some, like, temple maidens who can have ecstasy visions and shout and sing and shit. Like, that's not how you pray to Zeus, right? Like, that's not how that works. But the reason why they do that in that movie is because in order for us to understand, as an audience, as a primarily Western audience, oh, he's praying, he has to do a physical thing that we can identify as, that's what praying looks like, right? That's coding. It's the same thing here, right? Like, we have this fantasy society that doesn't have any firearms that we've seen, right? Like, that doesn't have the military traditions that we have, that doesn't have the historical development that leads to our development of, like, the 12-gun salute or whatever as a ritual for burying soldiers. But because we need to understand, okay, they have a ritual that's like, we basically imitate it with spells, like a little ballistic arc of soul track, sort of to send them off with, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just one of those things that I see and I go, that's a little funny because that salute was developed for firearms. This is another little quietly gorgeous shot. Like, the way they're doing the parallax scrolling on the background here. So it kind of looks like the three of them are coming around a curve, right? I still, like, Metoda and Cyan would have been so much fucking fun. Just, that would have been amazing. Oh, they should have brought her with them. That would have been so good. Frieren, you can have two priests as a treat. Also, what do you mean Metoda is older? She's like in her 30s at most, older, honestly. Oh, well. Jesus fucking Christ, an hour and 40 minutes on this episode. It deserved it, granted, but still. Jesus. This is such an interesting shot. Because, like, there are ways in which this looks bad, right? There are ways in which this just kind of looks messy. But it works, right? Like, it's deliberate mess. They are choosing a very chaotic presentation style to represent something about the physicality of how he moves with those wings. And it's not like... It's not the sort of perfectly postured, elegant, beautiful style of, like, most anime characters when they do shit in flight. It's wild, it's chaotic, it's wind whipping through everything. It's the guy sort of flailing to keep his balance and keep himself steady. It's really cool. It's really interesting visually. It's some interesting choices that are being made. Anyway, I could spend another 2 hours just going over every fucking shot in this episode again, but I don't think I should do that. In fact, I think, given that it's now... Yeah, I started at around 3, and now it's around 6 p.m., so I think probably I should call it for the day, and we'll do the last 2 episodes tomorrow. Oh, boy. Yeah, no, we got the Sakuga. God, we got the Sakuga this episode. Boy, howdy did we. My goodness. That was a good time. This fucking show, man.